Hi, this is Richard Thomas.
And I'm Tiffany Thomas.
Welcome to the Lionheart Institute podcast. This is our Perazim clips, and I hope you will enjoy this short segment of a longer episode. But let's talk about the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Just for a few minutes, because for me, it was the way that I chose my candidate for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Evangelical, Pentecostal, church in my early 20s, when I started voting, came on staff as at churches, been in ministry, the Holy Grail being abortion.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's a big one.
So we obviously, Biden is pro-choice.
Mm-hmm.
Kamala's pro-choice.
Mm-hmm.
Democratic Party in general,
Or pro-choice.
pro-choice.
Mm-hmm.
Some people would say, that's enough.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote despite everything else, despite the fact that he may have raped children himself. This fact, and I say that with a huge maybe, okay? Despite the fact that he's been reported to personally have had at least 8 abortions, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Despite the fact that he's paid off a porn star to hide a relationship that there probably was a child in regards to. Despite that he's had
Multiple
4 wives.
affairs on all of his wives.
All of his wives. That's how he's jumped to the next wife.
Yeah.
Multiple affairs, ongoing relationships. Despite all those things, despite the fact he lied about the coronavirus, despite the fact that he was not honest about the death toll and how dangerous it is and continues to put people at risk, despite the fact that he takes credit for the best economy in world history, but it's the worst economy that we've had in modern day history for America. Despite all those things, despite the fact that he'll call right left and left right, and he doesn't seem to know the difference. Mm-hmm. Despite that, he's told me that he's against abortion.
Yep, that's enough.
That's it.
Yep, that's it. I'm voting for him.
Talk to me about that for a minute, because obviously that's how a lot of us just peer pressured into saying that's enough. I can't move past that one topic. They could take my guns away before I would vote for a person that was for abortion. How do you see that? Because I think it's crucial.
Here's something I really want to say and very much clear up, because I think there's a very big misconception on this. Being pro-choice does not mean that you are pro-abortion. Okay, I think that there is a line that Republicans like to shove down people's throat and make everybody believe that all pro-choice people are baby killers, but that is not the case. The difference is they believe that the government does not have the right to tell a woman what they can and cannot do with their body. That is what being pro-choice is about. It is not about killing babies. It is not about that. It's about not taking women's rights away from them. So I just want to state that, because people have a very big misconception of what pro-choice means. Now, for the record, Donald Trump was a Democrat. He was also pro-choice. And up until he made the decision that he was going to run for president, that's what he was. He then changed to Republican and then changed to pro-life. So this is not something that he has believed in his whole life, okay, or even a good portion of his life. He chose an election year to now all of a sudden be proactive in trying to end abortion, which is, part of, a lot of people believe the reason for him appointing Amy Coney Barrett to the justice is to help him overturn Roe versus Wade. And take those rights away from women. And I have...
But she's an originalist.
Yeah,
right?
She is an originalist.
So do research on that, because it's very important, which essentially means that she would roll back to the beginning of the Constitution.
She believes that you need to base your decisions on law based on the Constitution and when it was created.
So of course there's not going to be abortion in their mind, right? But there's also not going to be what?
Well, back then, black people weren't considered full people.
Okay, which it'd be tough to bring us back there, but I understand how quickly slippery slope.
Right.
But so for true anti-abortionists, there's also anti birth control.
Right. So here, I want to say for the record too, because this is actually verifiable facts that you can find out. If you look at the health records, you will find, believe it or not, that every time we had a Democrat as president, the abortion rates went down over 30%.
Even though they had the free choice.
Even though they had the right to have them, abortion rates went down 33%. The times where we had Republicans in office, abortion rates only went down by 3%. And the biggest reason for that is birth control. Republicans tend to not believe in health care for everyone. They're not big on birth control. Where Democrats are like, hey, let's make sure everybody has access to birth control. And then guess what? We're not having abortions.
Right.
Okay, so the truth is you're fighting for a president who's trying to overturn a woman's right to choose, when the fact is Democrats actually help women have less abortions than Republicans.
So when you're really talking about pro-choice, you're not just talking about the choice of having an abortion.
No.
You're choosing the options that you have to protect yourself from having a child.
Absolutely. It's a preventative thing.
Right.
Democrats help women prevent pregnancies. And Republicans tend to take that away because it's a religious belief thing, and they end up having more abortions because of it.
So those who would say, "Hey, we're trying to fight sin," the sin of abandoned children, the sin of neglect, the sin of children raised in a world where they don't experience love, care, they're not matured and developed, is also a sin. And so when you look at it, I think it's very valuable to understand that yes, the stats indicate that numbers plummet when Democrats are in office because it's an all-inclusive choice.
Yes.
That we don't try to hide in the shame of just religious bullshit. Okay. Now I have a faith conviction about sexual behaviors and sexual intimacy and how it should come across and what is healthiest for a woman, a man. But I think it's important for us to realize we're not God.
Right.
And it's important for us to value life enough to let people make choices.
Absolutely. And I think, and I've heard this a lot from people, that abortion is, we've gotten to a point in society that it's not about a woman's right to choose, it's about us devaluing the life of a child.
Right.
And I don't believe that to be a fair or accurate statement at all. And it's very cut and dry for pro-life people. It's all about saving that unborn child, and that's as far as they get.
Right.
They don't look at what happens to this child after they're born. And believe me, I am not for killing babies, of course, on any level, but I also believe that is between women.
And I think it's extremely valuable to understand. I don't mean to cut you off there, but I think it's extremely valuable for Republicans who are basing their vote on that concept of pro-choice or pro-life, that Democrats do not see that embryo as a child. When we say baby killers, right, that's language that we're used to saying as Republicans. But there's not, I mean, I'm sure there are some, just like there are Republican women that are demented and sick or whatever.
Right.
But a Democrat woman who's pro-choice, they're not looking at it as being a baby killer. They're not looking at it as killing a baby, right? And so really, the wisdom says, if you want to save a life, you want people to be pro-life and not pro-choice, get busy about educating people on the value of a baby.
Yeah.
Get busy about valuing babies. Get busy about valuing people who can do nothing for you. Right. And in doing so, you'll find out that perhaps people who you would assume are going to have an abortion, maybe they give that child up for adoption. Maybe they go through the process and they raise that child, and that child becomes beautiful. And listen, I know it's a very sensitive topic.
Yeah.
I have my own feelings and my own convictions about it. First off, I'm very much a Tupac. I got my name from a woman, right? So who am I, right? I'm gonna let women do with their body what they feel comfortable doing. It's not my power. It's not within my grasp or control. So let the music play in Tupac, but
it's unfortunate that it's so one-sided. It's black or white, and for a person to elect a man whose character is so incredibly flawed, and such a horrible example, not only to the people in this country, to our children, but to the entire world.
Yeah.
Over the issue of abortion, which really he doesn't really even believe it is an issue based
Right.
on previous stuff that he has said and done. So it to me, I feel like how can you base all that off one thing?
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, the thing is when you take away abortion, you also take away the medical abortions. Okay, I have spoken to and read stories and heartbreaks of women who had to have them or they were going to die.
Yeah.
Okay, those are the kinds of situations that are deemed full-term abortions, right? It's not typically women at 9 months going on saying, I don't want my baby anymore.
Which I've never heard of.
Right, but that is where people, like, they have that in their mind that that's what it is, and that's
Right.
not the case. And there is a lot of women that will die that don't need to die if they take it away for medical purposes, and it's heartbreaking to me that they would put the life of an embryo over the life of the mom.
Yeah.
And I feel that that's a very unfair for them to make that decision for all women.